Hey, yo, can we stop arguing about books in the sense like discrediting like books in scripture, okay, and not perceiving books to be authentic written scripture or even scrolls, right, or ancient texts to be scripture because they aren't named after someone who wrote it, right? That's really, like, in my opinion, a weak way of viewing scripture and its authenticity. Okay. On top of this, many people who tend to do this forget that they're willing to take books that the author is never known or mentioned, okay, yet alone named after them. You don't even know who wrote the book, but you consider them scripture. But another book that you see, like a lost book or from the Apocrypha, you straight up disregard it and say it's not scripture. All because you don't know the author and is not widely accepted by many, okay? Now, you should really go on and do your own studies and research, which I advise on anything that has to do with scripture. Don't put, your life in the balance of just people's opinions, right? Seek out and study everything. And in prayer and fasting, like, do your due diligence. Like, I truly believe you should do that. But on top of this, right, people are willing to receive books such as Hebrews or, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Deuteronomy. We believe Moses wrote these books, and we speak that often as well. There's a lot of other books that many times people don't know the authors, okay? But we receive them as scripture. And many great reasons and evidence as to why we perceive it as scripture. And in all things, also remember, you need to have faith. All things in faith as well, okay? Now, it is a common practice in ancient times and in scripture that we see someone speaking or prophesying or, relaying historical evidence and accounts, and then they would have a scribe or somebody to write down what is happening, what they know, what they eyewitness, what they saw in a vision, things of that such, okay? That is not abnormal, right? Like, many people perceive the book of Romans to be scripture, and they authentically believe it to be scripture, right? I'm not arguing that the book of Romans is scripture. No, that's not my point. What I'm saying is many people receive this book, but many people do not know Paul did not actually even physically write the book of Romans, right? It was very much known and told in the book of Romans, chapter 16, verse 22, who was the writer of that book. Although we know Paul told us in the beginning of that book that he is the one basically speaking. He's the one going about in this letter that we receive called Romans. And another example is like the book of Jeremiah, right? We see there that in Jeremiah, I believe it's chapter 36, verse 4, that it says Baruch. Baruch is the one who went about writing and dictating the words in the prophecy, that Jeremiah is bringing forth in that book, right? So yeah, with all that being said, obviously, there are going to be other texts that come out and other pieces of literature that should not be regarded as scripture, very much so. But we are to test all these things. We are to be sure that we are knowing the scriptures and lining it up line by line, and seeing the accuracy and things like this, because sometimes there are things that even translations do. But to disregard certain books like Enoch, Jasher, and Jubilees and not even study them, read them completely in their totality, is kind of crazy, right? Because people don't even do movie reviews like that and not see the film and try to rate it and judge a movie that you haven't seen. That's just kind of strange, right? So just do, your due diligence, or, just kind of sit back and just see when you get the time to examine it fully or aspects of it before you can make that judgment, I would say, because when we look at the text that we have today, we know it's not just 66 books. There have been some removed books, okay? And scripture speaks of other books. So we should, want to seek out these other pieces of scripture to understand more. As our Messiah quoted from other books as well, it's vital to want to seek it out and test all things like the words say to do. But yeah, that's mostly it. Y'all be blessed. Have a Baruch day. Shalom.